Hello, hello, hello. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is your first time being a part of our Pain in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry broadcast, The Bridge, I welcome you. I welcome you. I welcome you. You notice I have a different background today. I tried out something new just to give us a different background today. I am Chelsealya Payne. I am glad that you're here. I'm excited that you're here. I am the founder of PAYNE Glory Incorporated and the administrator of this particular segment, Pain in the Pews Mental Health and Ministry. To find out more about us, we definitely welcome you to visit our website at www.painandglory.com. So listen, this month, the month of October, many of you already know that it is the month of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we started off the month honoring and giving information about survivors and what to do and what to, giving testimonies. You heard on our first one for this month, you heard from survivor, or overcomer is a much better term, Valerie Williams, where she gave her powerful testimony. Oh my gosh, it was a powerful testimony of being in a marriage for a number of years, in a matter of 20 minutes changed her entire life, being shot in the head and living to tell about it. And if you missed it, go back and hear her story. I mean, it is literally amazing what she experienced, what she went through, and how she never had to have surgery. If you didn't see her testimony, if you didn't get a chance to hear how all that came about, if you didn't get a chance to hear her explain the whole process of how she got shot in the head, and not just a graze, literal through her. Listen, I'm not even going to go back through it. You have to just go back. And so on last week, you guys had the opportunity to hear me give my testimony of and share with you. The title last week was, "Why Didn't She Say Anything?" And we talked about why people who are in domestic violence situations really don't, have a hard time speaking up and speaking out and leaving and doing all the things that you would think would be second nature, or would be the first thing that we would do, right? But we really talked about what that looks like and why it's not as is more common than and it's so much harder than people realize for multiple reasons. And if you missed that one, it's certainly right here on our Facebook page, so you can definitely go back to that. So today we're talking about, what can I do? Helping a survivor of domestic abuse. What can I do? Oftentimes people have come out of domestic abuse situations, but they need that continued support. They need their friends, family, and loved ones to help them to navigate through it. So we're going to talk about that. We've experienced our friends navigating through challenging times. If you're one who's experienced that, and being an observer of those close to you going through devastating events is emotionally painful and very frightening. It can be scary when you even if you didn't even know until after it was over, because for many people in my life, they didn't know until after it was the situation was ended, but I was still in my mind, I was still there. And so sometimes that can be a scary thing when you just don't know what to say or how to approach them, or because a person who's experienced domestic violence, they're still human. They're not an exhibit at the zoo. They're not a fragile piece of art. They yet need our attention and our support, but they don't need to be treated as if we're just we've experienced that enough. So we recognize that that as a friend, loved one, supporter, that we've got to stay strong, so that you can be there for your friend or loved one. So listen, maybe in the past, one of your friends had an abusive partner and you just didn't know what to do to help. Like, you just didn't know. Or maybe you're experiencing that right now. Or maybe maybe you're watching this and want to know, I kind of suspect something's going on, but what do I do? I suspect that this, maybe my friend has been in an abusive relationship because of certain things I've noticed. What can I do? So I just have just a few things that you can do to help with a person who is a survivor and overcomer of domestic violence. One is acknowledge to yourself what you're feeling about the violence, right? Some of us, not everyone has the same story, and this may strike a chord with you for whatever reason. For whatever reason. Um, so this must be the first step. Otherwise, your feelings, be they fear or disgust or anger, will literally leak out of you, and it'll exude from you, and your friend will pick it up. Your spirit, your friend will pick up your spirit. The friend who needs you, they'll be able to pick that up, and surely you don't want that to happen. You don't want that to be the issue. So recognize your feelings and resolve them within yourself before making any efforts to help your friend or loved one. So that's number one. Make sure, okay, I can do this. When you start thinking about what they may have gone through, even if you don't know the whole story, or if you know the story from top to bottom, get it together in your heart if you can. If you can't, it's okay. Let me be clear on that. If you can't, and you feel that maybe someone else may be better suited, it's better to recognize that and just be there in love than to try to move on with the other steps and maybe do more damage to your friend or your friendship. Number two, prepare yourself that your friend who's been abused might show physical signs of harm. So be prepared if you happen to see something that you weren't expecting, whether it be bruises, whether it be a black eye, whether it be cuts, whatever, even broken bones, whatever it is that happened in a domestic violence situation. Even if you don't even see the bruises, if they tell you that these things happened to them, that they had a black eye, that they had bruises, that they had their bone broken or sprained or whatever, or harm, prepare yourself for what you may hear. Remind yourself that even though your friend might appear to have been greatly harmed, the fact that she's still alive, or he, because domestic violence does not just stop at women, be grateful for the fact that she's still alive, walking and talking. Also, let's remember that these physical signs will heal and hopefully not leave scars, but we don't want to add to the emotional scars. So just prepare yourself, whatever that means for you. I can't tell you what your preparation may be, but just prepare yourself. Number three, ask questions that empower your friend. I'll give you some examples. With asking simple questions first, you can help your friend begin to rebuild a personal sense of empowerment. Because once that's been snatched from a domestic violence victim, listen, when they're in the mode of being the victim, because once you come out, you are either a survivor, which you just are maintaining day by day, or you're an overcomer, right? But for example, when you first see her and you're walking towards her, ask, is it okay if I hug you? That's important. She may say no. And be okay with that. Be okay with that. Be okay with that. And then she may say yes. And then if she does, just, I'm so happy to see you. Just little simple things. I'm so happy to see you. And then ask her another empowering question. What would you like to talk about? If so, I'm ready to listen. If not, that's okay too. Like, ask them, would you like to talk about it? What do you want to talk about? Don't try to start the conversation of, well, child, tell me what happened. No, what do you want to talk about? Or would you like to talk about it? And if so, I'm ready to listen. And if not, that's okay too. And mean that. Be ready to listen, not just waiting to talk, not just waiting to interject, not just waiting to be, their superhero. People she doesn't need that, or he doesn't need that. If you're asking them if they want to talk, be willing to listen. Instead, ask questions that give your friend, I'm sorry, you can also ask questions that give your friends choices and require her to say either that she wants to answer or she doesn't. When you do, you're helping her resume a position of power in her own life. That's why I gave the examples I gave a moment ago. Number 4, make yourself accessible. Your friend or loved one may be feeling fear and confusion about where her life is headed. Let her know how to quickly get in touch with you. Like if she needs to text you, if she needs to call you, if give her your numbers if she needs to, contact you right away, and give her the option to call you, if this works for you. Don't do it if it doesn't. But if she needs to call you in the middle of the night, just to be heard, I'll extend that to her. But if you're not in a position to do that, don't offer that, because you don't want to offer something and you're not available. And no slight on you if you're not available, or if this isn't something that you're able to do because of work or family obligations. That's perfectly fine. Just don't offer that. Just don't offer that. Use your own judgment with these issues. Recognize what works for you, what works for her. And if it's getting to be too much, recognize that too. Okay. Number 5, suggest your friend call a counselor or domestic violence advocate or professional. That's so key. Suggest to her, and not just suggest to go online and find some that you think will be reputable. There's 1-800 799 SAFE. They have great counsel. I'm sorry. I think I'm saying that number wrong, but I'll make sure that the numbers are in the thread here. I think I may be mixing up 2 numbers, but I'll give you the number in the thread here. I'll make sure that that's available to you. There are counselors, there are domestic violence hotlines. There are professionals who can, help, after, when she's ready. Because like I said, for me, my situation, I was literally no longer in a domestic violence situation, but mentally I was still there. I was jacked up. Mentally in my mind, I had so much hatred and unforgiveness that it was, and distrust, that it was really something. It took me a while to get through that. Right. So I'll make sure that I'll put some resources in the thread here. But sometimes, being gently honest helps. Saying things like, I'm concerned about you, and I just especially if they're losing weight, I'm concerned about you losing weight. I'm concerned about you, whatever you've noticed. I don't want to just kind of throw things out. If you've noticed something different about your friend or loved one, let them know that you paid enough attention to care. And listen, I if you want, I can help you find a counselor, someone you can talk to. Let me know. I'll even go with you if you want me to. I know with social distancing now, with the pandemic, they have them virtual. She can stay in her home. He or she can stay in their home. They have, telehealth now, telemental health now, and telehealth now, where you can speak to a therapist, or even if it's not a therapist, she can talk to a coach, a counselor, someone, virtually, so that we, if going out is a concern, which definitely I totally understand, and is within reason. If your friend refuses to give professional guidance now, try to secure an agreement with her that that if she's not better in a certain period of time, 4 to 6 weeks, whatever, give her a time period, that she'll agree to seek help after that time passes. Give her a little bit of accountability, not a huge push, just a little bit of accountability, because you want her to know that you're still there for her, and that you are a friend, and that the professional help that you're speaking of is only to help her, and you're not there to push her into anything. But the offer is there, and when you put a time frame on it, that helps to give accountability without pushing her and making her feel like a victim again. Number 6, Check in with your friend regularly. It's good for her to know that you're thinking about her and that you have her back. Send her little notes, text messages, a quick phone call, just something to let her know you're thinking of her. And that really will go a long way to let her know that she is appreciated and that you acknowledge her. The fact that you do that, it helps to give that empowerment back to her, and it helps to lift her up from being so far torn down. Even though you might feel helpless, there are several ways you can help and support a friend or a loved one who's a victim of domestic violence. But again, I stress this again, examine your own feelings first and be prepared to see the signs of abuse, even if you don't see the physical ones. If she tells you about them, or if you happen to see unhealed bruises, prepare yourself. And don't forget to ask the empowering questions and be easily accessible to her if you're able to do that. Ask your friend to consider getting professional help, and if she's not better, check in with her frequently. You can be a great support and the best friend and loved one to those close to you, who've experienced domestic violence. It's so important to remember that they don't, speaking as a person who is a domestic violence survivor, the last thing we want is to feel like a victim again and again and again. So it's so key to remember that, one of the things I said last week, we talked about why didn't she say anything? You know, don't ask the question you don't want to ask is, well, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say anything? You, I don't care how close your relationship is. I don't care if they're related to you. That don't you're making it about yourself, and then you're re-victimizing the victim. You don't want to do that. So I just want to give you some tips and tools. Again, I'm going to put in a thread. I'm going to have some resources that are available that can help and give you some information and hopefully will be a help to you guys, because you never know. I mean, people are experiencing all sorts of things, and with the pandemic, it has made things a little bit worse. And being there and being available to a friend or loved one who has experienced domestic violence, and now they're on the other side of it physically, but they're not on the other side of it emotionally or mentally. Once they come out of that, they need to be built back up, and a lot of times it's not that easy, and it's not that they even know how. So I hope that these tips and tools helped you. Listen, I am Chelsealya Cookie Payne, founder of PAYNE Glory Incorporated. Listen, this is the bridge. We are bridging the gap between the mental health and the faith communities. I encourage you on every Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. to continue to join me right here as we tackle topics that are relevant to you and to this community. We will be here again next week. Next week, I have a special guest and a special topic that we'll be talking about that's near and dear to my heart. And I think that even when you hear the guest and her testimony, you will see exactly why we have her on. And actually, this one, actually, even though we're still be in the month of October, it won't be dealing with domestic abuse, interestingly enough. But you ladies, you do not want to miss it. Um, I hope that you have a wonderful week and continue to be blessed. And don't forget to love on someone and show your love and be a support to someone. God bless.